Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. Before I even get started, I just bit my lip. Like, literally, I was eating something a couple hours ago and bit it, and I was like, and I went to go get a shower. I was like, you know how you're washing your face? And I was like, why is there blood at the bottom of the shower? I'm not a girl, not on my period. And I was like, I got out and I had a big old thing on my lip. So it'll probably gone a couple days, but I don't know. I was eating something and I went, hurt. I was like, is this a sign you're getting old when you bite your own lip? So anyways, yeah, that was, so when you're watching this, I'm sure people go, what's that thing on your lip? And then when we cut the clips up, I'm sure people are going to come in and be talking shit. But yeah, I bit my lip. So there it is right there. I almost feel like every 5 minutes I have to say it on the podcast because people that don't watch the whole podcast are just going to see a clip and be like, why don't you dress that shit on your lip, dog? So I'm addressing it, but if you don't watch the whole thing, you're not going to know. So yeah, I bit my lip. There it is, right there. So anyways, thank you, Baltimore. The last 2 weeks I was in Baltimore, Maryland. What a great run, man. We did 12 shows. No, we did 13 shows in 2 weeks, and we sold out 10 of the 13, and that place holds like 500 and some, so that's quite a few people. It's over 6,000 people saw me the last 2 weeks. So shouts out to the staff there. Just everybody, man. What a great week. Thanks everybody to Baltimore. Like, love that club. Love the crowds that come there are fire. And shouts out to my guy Rob Rodriguez and T-Row, my two openers. I don't want to call them openers. The two comics that go up before me. Rob held it down week 1. T-Row held it down week 2. So thank you guys. This weekend I'm in Nashville, Tennessee at Zany's. We've already added 2 shows. 4 are gone. So, shoot, by the time 5 are gone. 5 are sold out. So we added to it. So it's going to be 8 shows total. So we got 2 Friday, 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. So get your tickets, Zany's. And then that's March 8th to the 10th. And March 15th to the 18th, I'm in Phoenix at Stand Up Live. Then March 22nd to the 24th, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Improv. And then March 29th, I'm in Wichita, Kansas. March 30th, I'm in Evansville, Indiana. Those are theaters. And then the first 2 weeks of April, I'm in Houston, Texas at the Improv, the 4th through the 7th, 11th through the 14th. Then the 19th to the 21st, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina as the accent gets thicker. And then 26th to the 28th of April, I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then I'm in Killeen, Texas. Let's just finish up. May 3rd through the 5th, I'm in Killeen. May 10th through the 12th, I'm in Pleasanton at Tommy T's. And yeah, we'll stop it there. That's enough of the schedule. So a lot of stuff happened with comedians this week. I'm gonna get into in a minute. First off, let me start. Happy birthday to Shaquille O'Neal. The big man's 52 years old. The owner of 86,000 different companies and every commercial possible. And nobody has a bad word to say about Shaq, bro. He's just a good dude. So happy birthday, big man. Really glad we've become friends over the years. Cherish the friendship. So I appreciate you, brother. And then what was good to see this week? Jamie Foxx spoke at an awards ceremony, and he said he's going to go back on tour. We'll see. I think an epic comedy tour would be like Eddie Murphy and Jamie Foxx, since neither of them has done stand-up in years, but I think if those two went out together, they would sell out. But they'd have to put a lock down on all the phones because people would be trying to bootleg the heck out of that. So, yeah, it was good to see Jamie back being healthy. Shaq and Jamie, man. And then I saw I watched Club Shay Shay, the Johnny Manziel interview. If you haven't seen it, it's a couple weeks old now. Man, that guy, Johnny Manziel, is he's one of those people, like, when he talks, you listen. And he's very honest with himself. He's very honest with why his career didn't pan out. Doesn't put blame on anybody. You know what I liked, what he said? The most out of the interview was how Reggie Bush should have his Heisman. And I'm like, man, with NIL and everything going on in college sports today, what Reggie did was so small that everyone was doing. And to take away his Heisman, I was like, man, if anybody deserves to have their Heisman reinstated, it's Reggie Bush. Because it's almost like he got busted for smoking weed and now weed's legal. So it's like, I always go back, like, people that are in jail for selling weed should be released now that weed's legal. You can't do that crime anymore. So it's almost like they said it, though, like Shannon and Johnny Manziel in the interview, they was like, for Reggie to get back, to get his Heisman back and to be on that stage every year when they do the Heisman, the NCAA basically has to admit it was wrong. And they don't like to do that. So Johnny Manziel was like, I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to be back. I think if everybody was in solidarity, like all the Heisman winners, if they all come together and say, we're not coming, it's going to be an empty stage until you reinstate Reggie, that would do it. Now, there's no doubt all the USC guys would be on board with this. There's no doubt Johnny Manziel would be on board with it. So that would be a dope thing to see, actually, because everybody knows. Everybody knows Reggie Bush is a good dude. Everybody knows he could be arguably the greatest college football running back of all time. Some of the stuff he did, that Fresno State one when he went behind the back and made that cut, I was like, yo. That guy was so box office to watch. He literally was like Caitlin Clark of Iowa. Like USC was playing, you was watching Reggie Bush. Couldn't take your eyes off of him. You was almost disappointed when they didn't get the ball to him. And nothing against any other players, but man, when Reggie got that ball, you know what was going to happen. So I think what would be cool is if all the Heisman winners said, no. None of us are coming. We don't want no part of this awards until you bring Reggie back. He's one of us. He deserves to be here. What he did in college, everybody knows all the colleges were doing it, but they just went on a witch hunt against him, which is so stupid. So I think that'd be a cool thing to do if all the Heisman winners just say, look, we're not coming unless Reggie comes. So just my 2 cents. Now, here's the thing about the stand-ups, man. So this week, let me find the right podcast that I got talk shit about. Donnell Rawlings, straight up threw my name out there, unsolicited though. Let me see. It was. I'm gonna give the right podcast. Let me see. It was some Hoffa. Math Hoffa. So I'm gonna give him some shine. It was. I mean, I've seen this guy's podcast. I've seen clips of it over time, and it's good. It's like a barbershop setting. I think it's in New York, but it's dope. It's dope. But they had Donnell Rawlings on there, and unsolicited. Let me give you the episode that Donnell threw my name out there. Talking shit about me. Oh, it's just a clip. I haven't seen the whole episode. But anyway, just look up Donnell Rawlings and look up Math Hoffa. So the YouTube is Math Hoffa TV. So look that up. MATHHOFFA TV. Look that up. Watch some of the clips from Donnell. And Donnell basically was like, he's sick of going on the Breakfast Club. The worst thing you could say to a comedian is, you're not funny. And then he was like, I'm sick of them comparing me to people. He goes like Michael Blackson, Gary Owen, And he was like, I would be shitting on them. Nothing against them. He goes, nothing against them. They're my peers and stuff. But he goes, but I would basically, he will blow us out the water and he would shit on us. And I just thought, damn, dude, how did I catch a stray? I've never said a bad word about Donnell. The thing about stand-up, we all better feel like we're the funniest out there, because you can't go on that stage timid. You might be following fire. We all know who the beasts are in this business. But we all feel that way. We all feel like we're the funniest, and we better. But it doesn't mean you got to shit on people. And I was like, how did I catch the stray? I've been nothing but cool with Donnell, I thought. And the fact that he just threw my name out there like I would shit on him. I was like, whoa. Because this is the truth. I don't know Donnell that well. Every time we've run into each other over the last 20 years, the conversations have been brief. He's never extended anything to me, like ever tried to have a long conversation with me. And I always thought maybe our energies just don't match. But it seems like whenever I see Donnell, I'm the one approaching him. But I think I'm a friendly dude. And I'm in at this stage of my life, I'm in such a good place right now. I like the house I'm living in. I like coming home every week. I like the city I'm living in. Ticket sales have never been better. Like this year, and last year, and this year's even starting off even better. I'm just in a good place. So if my name comes up in a conversation, whether you shitting on me or not, I welcome it, because it just keep my name out there. But it was so brief, and it didn't get any traction, because, when people talk shit about you, man, everybody sends it to you. Everybody named mama will post it. There's one thing about Twitter. People say Twitter ain't what it used to be. That's where you find out information, is Twitter. More than Instagram, more than TikTok. I'm talking about when people talk smack about you. Your name pops up. And I said it on T-Pain's podcast a couple years ago. I go, we search our name. Everybody does. Stop lying. You bored in your hotel room. You're at the airport. You get on Twitter. You might be like, let me see if my name popped up on anything. And you'll type in Gary Owen. I got to type in 2 names because people think I have an S on my name. So I got to type in Gary Owen, Gary Owens, and I just read it. I don't take none of it personal. A lot of times I'll repost stuff. I always say Owen, no S. I'm just kidding around. But somebody, I'm not lying, it was no less than 10 people sent me the Donnell clip of him saying, I'm sick of the Breakfast Club comparing me to basically Michael Blacksey, Gary Owen. He goes, they're my contemporaries, they're my peers, but basically I'm not on his level, is what he said. And this is what I have to say about Donnell. And this ain't bad or good, it just is what it is. These are facts. I do a New Year's Eve show every year in Dallas. This year was my 8th year. And me and my business partners, we sit down every year and we go over who's available, who we want to bring, who we think will help the show. And I always we pay well. Nobody could ever say my New Year's Eve show, and now it's December 30th and 31st in Dallas, nobody can ever say I tried to lowball them or I tried to give them less money than what they thought they was worth. In fact, we overpay a lot of times because we want to lock comics in early. And honestly, it gives me a little satisfaction knowing I could put money into what I consider my contemporaries' pockets. So I've had Deion Cole, I've had Cedric, I've had Mike Epps, I've had DC Young fly numerous times, I've had Ryan Davis, Desi Banks, Lunell, Country Wayne. We've had, if you ain't been on my show, it's just because you've been booked, but we try to get everybody. Michael Blackson, considering. So with that being said, ask any of them. Ask the big dogs. Ask Cedric. Ask Country Wayne. Ask Mike Epps. Ask DC. I've never underpaid. Ask Earthquake. Ask Lavelle. I think all of them will say my New Year's Eve show, we run it smooth. We are there for the comics. We're not trying to because me being a comic and me putting this show together, I want to make sure everybody leaves there like, all right, I could work with Gary on any project. So this year, we had a falling out. We had Faison booked. Faison came back and said he couldn't do it. So we were like, okay, we got to find somebody for my New Year's Eve show. And we already had Country Wayne on it and Lunell and some other people. We had, I don't know if Donnell was the 30th or 31st. I can't remember. We had Country Wayne on the 31st. We had Deion Cole on the 30th. That's what it was this year, right? So Donnell, we hired him last minute to do my New Year's Eve show. And so he wasn't booked. And he wasn't booked at all. And New Year's Eve show was a big day to get booked. And he wasn't booked. So I think what rubbed me the wrong way was him bringing my name up after I just put money in your pocket on a night you wasn't working. And I was like, and then you throw my name out there and shit on me? I'm like, so you worked for me like 2 months ago. You got paid. You was taken care of. I didn't. So why would you take that moment to shit on me? Amanda put money in your pocket. You took that moment. Like, why did it even come up? That says more about where you're at mentally. And the thing about it was, this whole podcast, all he did was talk about how he doesn't like shitting on people. He doesn't like the comedian beefs like that. And then he just out of left field and knighted one. I was like, it's one thing if you're kidding around. Like when I dressed as Tekashi 6ix9ine on the Breakfast Club, and I started going, I went in on Michael Blackson, I went in on Faze, on all these people. It was clearly I was kidding about everything. So he was dead serious. And I was like, interesting. So that tells me what he really felt about me. He feels like, I guess, he's almost offended that they would bring my name up compared to him. And I'm just going, where's that come from? You just went on this podcast saying you don't like it. And I'm like, and I'll put it this way. I can let the people decide. Donnell just had a special that came out on Netflix. Thanks to Dave Chappelle. Donnell said he could have did it on his own. I don't know if that's true or not, but he decided to go with Dave, and Dave produced it. And his special's on Netflix right now. My last special is called Black Famous, is on Amazon Prime. So you guys can watch mine and watch his, and then tell me. You, and if the majority says his is funnier than mine, I'll fall all the way back. But let me know. Let me know. So my special on Amazon Prime, we're gonna put the graphic up, is called Black Famous. It's on there. Donnell just had his special on Netflix come out. And you know what? I'll pump it. I am not insecure in the least. Let's see, Donnell. What was your special called? Because like I said, I don't really watch a lot of stand-up. His is called A New Day. Donnell Rawlings, A New Day. So go ahead and watch his, watch mine, and then tell me. Go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to TikTok, go to whatever. And then tell me. We don't have to, I don't have to get in back and forth. You got a special that came out. My special came out last year. We'll let people decide who they think is quote unquote funniest. Or if it's 50-50, then that tells me, why are you offended that my name comes up? And why do you feel like you would shit on me? Like, come on, man. We all know who's funny, who's not in this business, who's a hack, who's not. But I think it's just like when somebody puts money in your pocket and you shit on them, I'm like, and Donnell, even at the show, man, he asked, we didn't say it, but we were going to do a curtain call. And Donnell was like, I ain't got to do shit. Like, I ain't got to do no curtain call. It's interesting to me because, and he dipped when he got off. He's not obligated. We paid him to tell jokes. That's it. But we did the curtain call with everybody else and not him. But he does it every night with Dave. Whenever Dave's got a show, Donnell sticks around and he does a curtain call. So I guess he feels like we are beneath him. How dare we ask him to do a curtain call? So that says a lot. So I don't know. You said you're in a good headspace. You said mentally you're in a good place. But when people do stuff like that, I'd be like, are you? unsolicited. You came at me. I didn't say a word about you. The difference between, let's say, Katt. If people want to bring up Katt, and the difference is Katt went at people that came at him, so to speak, for the most part. But I was just like, dang, Donnell, really? I thought we was cool. Shocking. And I'm still not mad about it. You see I'm smiling. I was just like, all right, well, go back to Ohio, my home state, and go canoe or whatever you do to get your head right. But dang, way to catch a stray at a left field after I put money in your pocket. So you've worked for me. I've never worked for you. Let's just leave it at that. Who's your daddy? All right. Well, it's Dave Chappelle. We know that. It's not me. I mean, you wearing his chain. So, and I just think when someone like Donnell is like, you're on the road constantly with someone like Chappelle, so you see him with the private jets, you see him selling out arenas, and you're not. I mean, it's got to eat at you a little bit. I think at some point you'd want to break away and do your own thing, but maybe deep down, maybe you realize I don't have it like that, and I never will. So let me just ride on Dave's private jets and do the arenas with Dave. Because if you're not on the show with Dave, nobody's complaining. Nobody's going to be like, man, I went and saw Dave, but Donnell wasn't there. I want my money back. That's never happened. So I'm just saying. What you shitting on me for, Donnell? Come on now. I didn't do nothing to you, bro. So actually, I did a lot for you. I put money in your pocket on New Year's Eve when you weren't booked a month out. So you're welcome. And you know the check cashed, because if it didn't, you would have said something about it. Yeah. So, yeah, Donnell, I saw it. Anyways, let's move on. Why are all the older comics freaking? Why are we the bitter ones? The younger ones ain't like that. It's so odd to me. Like, it's so weird. I was thinking about all the younger comics that are out there, right? Jess Hilarious, DC Young Fly, Desi Banks, Ryan Davis, B. Simone. They're like they're the 15, 20 years behind my group. My group is Donnell, Deion Cole, D-Ray, Michael Blackson, Katt, Kevin. That's my group. That's all the late 90s, early 2000s group that came to L.A. or you start hearing about them. That's my, fraternity. Whereas these next groups came in like 15, 20 years later. And I tell you, all the people I just named, I can remember the day I met them and how we met and just how they were so like eyes wide open, appreciative just to talk to you and soaking in the knowledge, and to see all these young comics just taking off and flourishing in their own direction. Even the Hudson brothers. I mean, the Hudson brothers aren't doing as much stand-up, but I remember meeting Emmanuel, and then I shot a ride-along. In 2012, we shot that. And then he came up and was like, yeah, I do sketches with my brother. And we started talking. And then go to YouTube, man. I shot 2 sketches with him that week. We shot that while I was shooting ride-along. They had a little place. They had camera. And they were like ahead of the game, the Hudson brothers. And I'm so glad I did that, because now my kids, I got something I can see them in 2012. So my son was 12 and my daughter was 10 when we shot that. And it's just cool because I can go back and look at them and their kids and little. And then we shot a Thanksgiving sketch with them. And, it was just cool just to collab. And that's what these young guys are doing, man. They get it. They know we can collab together and we can make all this money together. And we're stronger as a unit instead of shitting on each other. Let's help each other out. I love that about this younger group. 85 South, Chico Bean, Carlos Miller, DC. I love that they all can do their own tour, because, listen, there's enough for everybody. Like I said, there's no reason to shit on somebody because you think you're funnier than them. We all think we're the funniest. Stop. We all think that. I remember the first time I met DC Young Fly, Dayton, Ohio Airport. I never met that dude. He was with Lil Duval that night. Lil Duval is part of my generation. part of my fraternity. I was getting on a flight, and he was landing. And I walked by, and we made eye contact. And he was like, I just remember he goes, "What's up, man?" And his security guy was with him. And he was like, "Man, I'll fucks with you, man. I'll fucks with you." And I was like, "All right, man." And I don't think he knew if I knew who he was. This was probably 9 years ago. So DC was bubbling, but he's not where he's at now. And then I just remember I did a post right afterwards. I go, "I just met DC Youngfly at the airport." Fuck you mean. Fuck you mean. Because remember, DC kind of blew from those videos where he had somebody that was dressed goofy, and then he would comment on it, or they did a video. He would say, "Man, bring your ass here, boy." And he put the camera right here on his face. And then he just took off from that. And then Will Packer put him in that Christmas movie, and woo, took off from there. But every time you see DC, bro, he's so appreciative. You got to be backstage and really look at these young guys and how they just soak up the knowledge. DC don't come in shitting on people. He don't come in trying to overtake a conversation, or he just listen. You could tell, man. I've seen him in 50 times in rooms with other comics, and that dude just soaks it all in. He's taking all that info, and he's just a sponge, man. And that's why where he's at. He ain't nobody's opener. First time I met Jess Hilarious, Tamara Goins, who's an agent now. She goes, "Yo, I'm repping this young girl," and she said she's a huge fan of yours. I said, "Really?" She goes, "Her name's Jess Hilarious. Look her up." So that's when I looked her up, and I wasn't familiar with her. That was, God, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and I said, "Oh yeah," and then she FaceTime and put her on the phone, and I remember as soon as my face got on the phone, Jess went, "No way! No way!" And then been cool ever since. In fact, I went and saw her that night. Like, I went and saw her. She was doing a show at the Comedy Union, and she brought me on stage. I said, "Let's do a joke and say I'm Tommy." That was before. That was like season 1 or 2 of Power. That's before everybody got wind. And that's the first time I met Jess. And we just chopped it up and talked. Again, appreciative. Never shit on me since we've met. There's no reason to. And that's why she's at where she's at right now. Ryan Davis, another young dude. First time I met him, I think he reached out on social media. And then I saw him somewhere, one of the comedy clubs. But then I was doing a spot. Chris Spencer's got a spot in L.A., maybe the Savoy, I think it's called. And I was going to do a show one night, and I looked up, and Ryan was in the audience. I said, "What you doing here, man?" He said, "I heard you was here, man." He said, "I'm just coming to learn." And I was like, whoa. I was like, man. He just said, "I'm just coming to learn, man." I'm coming to watch one of the best. And I was like, wow, just to be called that. B. Simone, same way. First time I met her was on Will Packer had a show. Was it on BET? It was some show that didn't go anywhere, but me and her was on there. We were like the panel on there, and that's the first time I met her. We talked, exchanged info, and then I've seen her every time I've seen her since. Like, it's always been warm. We had a show together in Houston last year, and she came to my dressing room. We got a picture, talked for a minute, but it's just it's so much love. Desi Banks, oh my God. I feel like I'm really just hyping up the younger generation, but they deserve it. Give people their flowers while they're here. First time I met Desi Banks, came to the show in Atlanta, and my road manager Brad was like, "Yo, there's this young guy out of Atlanta. He used to work at Smoothie King, and he would tell me he's doing sketches and stuff. He wants to be a stand-up." He goes, "And now he's taking off." And Brad was showing me some of his sketches on his phone. So then I was at Atlanta Comedy Theater. Desi came to the show, and then this is when you know you're getting old. He goes, "You're my mama's favorite." I was like, "Dang, dude, thanks for making me feel old." And I kid you not, every time I come to Atlanta, if Desi's in town, him and his boys, they come and we hang out in the green room and chop it up and everything else. And we've shot a couple sketches together since then. And it's just like, it's just love, man. There's none of this like, how dare they compare? There's none of this. It's not like Desi Banks gets on a show and goes, how dare they compare me to Ryan Davis and Just Hilarious? I'll shit on them. But it was just so unsolicited. That's the thing, like with Donnell and then the young guys. I'm like, why do the young guys are so happy and are so appreciative of everything they have, and they generally root for other people? By the way, I do want to get on 85 South Show. I want to go to the hood. When you going to have me on the couch, fellas? I'm putting it out there. So I just don't know. It's not necessary. We all think we're the funniest, bro. It's just not necessary. So, anyways, another thing that I'm talking about, people mad. This one kind of hurt though. Like when I saw, okay. Let me start with the Katt thing. I saw Katt on Joe Rogan. He finally got on Joe Rogan. Completely disappointed in the interview, just because I had an expectation that Joe and Katt was going to address what Katt said about Joe Rogan on Club Shay Shay. I thought Katt was going to go on there and Joe would bring it up or Katt would bring it up, and neither of them brought it up. It was 3 hours of aliens, Earth, history, two very smart individuals that know a lot about history, that clearly are smarter than me when it comes to that stuff. But I was fine for a while, but I was like, I realized I watched all 3 hours, and then it was over, and I went, whoa, who are the 6 comics? Who are the 6 comics that Katt said are funny? I think we narrowed it down to about 10, but we don't know who the 6 are. And it never got brought up. And I'm like, the whole reason Katt got on Joe was he went on Club Shay Shay and goes, Joe Rogan's got the same 6 comics. That's never been funny. And then it got back to Joe. And then Joe said, I'd love to have Katt on. I'm a big fan of his. And I'm going, nobody's going to bring this up? I can't fast forward like a little bit. Like, boom, they were talking about the pyramids, Sodom and Gomorrah, aliens. It was a lot of history. Like, some of it was interesting. Some of it dragged for me. Other people probably ate it up and loved it. But for me, I just wanted I wanted to hear, not dirt, I wanted to hear Katt and Joe's different ideas on what makes a good stand-up. How did Katt make it? Why they haven't met after all these years, which is mind-boggling to me. Joe, maybe how Joe got wind of Katt. Do they have any stories from the Comedy Store back in the day? Because clearly Joe's been at the Comedy Store when it was Fat Tuesday was jumping. I remember going there and seeing him. He wouldn't perform, but everybody knew Tuesday night was a black night. And you see all the white comics in the back hallway watching. So I just thought, I wish there was more stories about that. And it was just a big history lesson. So selfishly, I was disappointed in the interview. For me, not saying it was a bad interview. Some people probably loved it. But for me, I was disappointed because I wanted to know who the 6 was. And I wanted just for shits and giggles. And then I just wanted to know more stand-up talk is what I wanted, basically. I wanted more stand-up talk. But what I was saying was a disappointing thing I saw, and I haven't addressed it yet. It's been a couple weeks, and I was like, should I bring it up? But, going back to Club Shay Shay and Katt and Monique, who have set the comedy world on fire to start 2024 off. But Monique's back and forth with her son a couple weeks ago. It's kind of died down since. But it hurt because regardless of how I feel about Monique, like I said, I don't wish bad things on anybody. I just still think she was wrong for how she compared Will Packer to Harvey Weinstein. And now that when her son came out and started talking, and I think her son got a lot of views and a lot of hits, and so he made a couple more videos. Because let me tell you, you go viral once, you're trying to recapture it. It's intoxicating if you've never had it. Especially when you say something, people start gassing you up, like saying, you're right, you're right, you're right. Now, for me, outsider looking in, being a stand-up, having kids that aren't talking to me, I think this hit home with me a lot harder than some other videos because when her son said, it was just money for me. The relationship was just about finances and things like that. But you weren't really there. Like emotionally, you wasn't there for me, basically. And then he said, when Monique and her husband said, we're here for you whenever you're ready. We're here. And he goes, what is that to say? I go, well, in that instance, I'm on Monique's side. She's probably saying, hey, we keep reaching out and we keep getting stonewalled. So at some point we got to stop. And then whenever you're ready, come to us. And then we could hopefully start healing and moving on and getting back to some kind of relationship. So I don't wish bad things on people. I hope Monique and her son can someday reconcile and come back together. So I disagree with the son on that because you're never going to get anywhere if there's got to be some give and take. So you got to be like, hey, if my mom's saying come to when I'm ready, at some point I got to reach out and say I'm ready to talk now. Hopefully that happens. What I didn't agree with Monique is when she shared the text messages, it's almost like she's trying to prove to people on the internet, which, by the way, 95% of people on the internet, they just want the drama. They just want to keep this going, keep gaslighting it. When they make all these crazy comments, even let me just bring this back to myself for a minute. Even through my divorce, I if somebody was to put down my ex and act like, bitch, money hungry, she don't deserve that, I don't listen to that. And I'm sure, and the people that were saying I ain't shit, I wouldn't listen to them. But if you read enough comments, and we all read the comments, we act like we don't, but we do. Sometimes you'll come across some gems. You'll come across some people that make a lot of sense. So if you can filter out the people that are just going in on my ex or going in on me, eliminate them because they're just trying to gaslight something. But if you can come across a couple comments where they're really like, hey, I know this happened to you, this happened to me, this is how I was able to get back in touch with my kids, or you should fall back a little bit, but, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you get these comments, you're like, man, they hit it on the head with that one. And, so it's not all comments are bad. So I don't agree with people. Don't read the comments. No. Don't read the comments. And then if they're very one-sided, you want people to be on your side. That's human nature. We want to be a part of something. We want to be accepted. So I never read comments. And if you was to just go in on my ex or my kids or anything, I don't listen to you because you're gaslighting. You're trying to pull me away from having a relationship with my kids or pull me away having a civil relationship with my ex. Yeah, I want to be civil with her because there's going to be marriages. There's going to be funerals. There's going to be just life events that I want to see her and give her a hug and be like, we're cool. And I hope she feels the same way. But when Monique showed those text messages, it felt like she was trying to say, hey, look, I'm right. And trying to like get her followers and people on her side saying, we knew it was you were in the right. So, and then where I completely thought Monique was wrong, though, when she went on stage and said somebody saw her at the airport, some old man or old woman, and they was like, F that N-word. And just went out, I go, oh, God, no. That's just bad. I would hope Monique would look back on that and be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have did that. Because it was funny, like, not funny, but the week before, Monique had posted a video of her seeing an old lady or old man had come up to her at the airport and said, we're watching. We're with you. We're watching. And then a week later, someone's at the airport saying, hey, I know the situation with you and your son, and I'm going to tell you, F that N-word. And I go, I don't know if either of those I don't think either of those things. Oh God, I sound like a tongue twister. I don't think either of those I can't even talk. I don't think either of those things happened. If I'm just being honest, I could be wrong. I don't always have to be right, but I don't think anybody came up to Monique at the airport and said either of those things. I don't think an old man or old lady said, I'm watching how you react. You're the voice of this generation. And I don't think somebody came up and said F that N-word. I don't think anybody would. How would somebody come up to a mother and say F your son? Regardless, I just don't think that happened. I could be wrong, but I don't think two old people came up to Monique in two different airports and both said that to her. I just don't believe it, but I could be wrong. So I don't think that was the right way to handle situations. It's almost like Monique's trying to validate, like, look, we're right. And I'm just going, I just don't agree with it. Because I'll tell you this. A buddy of mine is going through a divorce, and he came up to me, and we were talking about it. And he brought it up to me because I went through it. And he said, look, man, my kids ain't really messing with me right now. And he's been a very active father his whole life. And his kids are adults like mine are when we got the divorce. And he said, I said, well, how are you handling it with your kids? And he goes, man, all I do is I told my kids, all of them separately. I just called them. I said, hey, I'm here. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. And I just want you to know, regardless of what's going on between me and your mother, I love you. I will always love you. That's not going to change. And I was like, and that's all at this point with my relationship with my kids. And I would hope that I wish Monique would have went that route, because I don't want no wedge. I want her and her kids to be together. That's all I can say to my kids at this point is, like, I love you. I'm always going to love you. That's not going to change. And I'm here whenever you guys are ready. You ain't got to come to me. I'll come to you. I get that text, Dad, I'm ready to talk. I'm on the next flight out. Whether I got a show or not, I'm out. That's just what it is. That's all I can say at this point. So I just wish that wouldn't happen on stage. Just from a parent that's got a strained relationship with his kids, that one hurt a little bit. Watching that on stage, I go, oh. And I don't know if that's a real story that happened. And even if it did happen, would have never shared that on stage. It's drawing a bigger wedge. It's almost like you're trying to get the crowd on your side a little bit. So, yeah, that was disappointing. But I hope it all works out in the end for everybody. Even Donnell, I hope you have a great relationship with your kids. I think Donnell said his son's name is Austin. I go, interesting. That's my son's name. That's interesting. But anyways, yeah. I hope one day me and Donnell talk, and I go back, why'd you shit on me, bro? What was the point of that? I just put money in your pocket, bro. You know, and here's the thing. When I put the money in his pocket, we had a list. We had a list of like 5 comedians to choose from to add to the show. We had the headliner. We had Dion headlined the 30th, Country Wayne headlined the 31st, and asked both of them. They got paid well. Trust me. And their checks cleared, or they'd be talking about Gary right now. And we had a great time, both shows, I thought. So the fact that I saw the list and I go, yeah, Donnell's cool, man. Let's get Donnell. Will he do it? And we worked out a price and we paid him. And he came. And I was just like, and then to 2 months later going to podcast and unsolicited shit on me? Okay. If that makes you feel better. But just so you know, we all think we're the funniest. You ain't doing that. That's not what I took offense to. I was more like, damn, dude, you're going to shit on me? Unsolicited? So anyways, this weekend I am in Nashville, Tennessee. Great city. We'll be there the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We just added 2 shows. We had a late show. We had a 3rd show Saturday and a 3rd show Sunday. So, boom. And then next week I'm in Phoenix at the Stand Up Live downtown. And then I'm in Raleigh at the Improv March 22nd and 24th. Then I'm in Wichita, Kansas on the 29th. You know what? Let me end this and give the theater because I haven't been doing that. So, I don't want to give the wrong theater. There it is. There it is. Wichita. I am at Century 2 Art Center in Wichita, Kansas. In Evansville, Indiana, which, by the way, tickets are moving very well in Evansville because I can check that more easily because it's on Ticketmaster. Evansville, I am at the Victory Theater. Woo! Because we're winners. That's the day before Easter. So come on, before you go to church on Sunday, come see Gary on Saturday, Evansville. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast.